What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. For this camera comparison we have the brand new iPhone 12 and the highly popular iPhone 11. As always throughout this video we are gonna see a bunch of daytime pictures. I have some pictures taken with the ultra wide lens, I have some zoom pictures, portrait mode pictures, I have a bunch of nighttime pictures using the night modes on both devices, sample videos and of course selfies. For this recording, I'm using the front-facing cameras on the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 11 and recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. However, I could also record in 4K at 60 frames per second. And with that being said, I think we should start by checking out some daytime pictures and more specifically some portrait mode pictures. Alright, so after looking at the portrait mode pictures that I took, I have to say that not a lot has changed between the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 12. And most of the portrait mode pictures that I took look almost identical. The edge detection seems to be somewhat similar. I mean, in some pictures the iPhone 11 does better, in some pictures the iPhone 12 does better. The colors are very similar, but I did notice that the subject's face seems to be a bit brighter in the pictures taken by the iPhone 12. But really not a lot has changed in between the iPhone 11 and the 12 for portrait mode pictures. But what do you guys think? Do you prefer the ones from the iPhone 12 or the ones from the iPhone 11? Definitely leave a comment and let me know. Alright, next we are moving on to pictures taken with the ultra-wide lenses on the back of these two devices. And here once again not a lot has changed. A lot of the pictures that you're seeing on the screen now are somewhat similar. I did notice, however, that certain pictures taken by the iPhone 12 with the ultra-wide lens do seem a bit sharper, a tiny bit sharper, and the saturation is also a bit toned down. So a couple of those pictures do seem a bit more natural from the iPhone 12. But once again, not a big change for pictures taken with the ultra-wide lens. What do you guys think? Do you see the differences? Do you prefer the 12 over the 11? Once again, leave a comment and let me know. Alright, moving on to zoom pictures. And for zoom pictures, I've done 5 times zoom. But keep in mind that neither the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 11 has a telephoto lens. So everything that you're seeing is basically digital zoom. So here, once again, not that big of a difference. Most pictures do look somewhat similar. So for zoom pictures, once again, they are very similar. And we are moving on to pictures taken with the main lenses on the back of the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 11. And the trend kind of continues once again. So a lot of the pictures that you are seeing look very similar. The colors are pretty similar, everything is similar. But I did notice in a couple of pictures that dynamic range from the pictures taken by the iPhone 12 was slightly better. But realistically, there isn't that much difference for the main lens between the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 12. I mean, the iPhone 11 was already one of the best phones to take pictures with, and I guess the iPhone 12 slightly improves that. And I'm mostly talking about daytime pictures because you're gonna see a difference when we see nighttime pictures very soon. So what do you guys think? Do you like the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 11 for pictures taken by the main lens? Definitely leave a comment and let me know. Alright, and we are moving on to nighttime pictures, and I feel that this is where you're gonna see one of the biggest differences between the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 12. So the iPhone 12 now gets a night mode for pretty much all the lenses. So we have a night mode for the ultra-wide lens, something that we didn't have for the iPhone 11. So what you're seeing on the screen now are pictures that I took with the ultra-wide lens on the iPhone 11 and of course the 12. Since we have a night mode on the iPhone 12, of course, all the pictures taken with the ultra-wide lens are much better. I mean, you can actually see what's in those pictures now. So that is definitely one big improvement between the iPhone 12 and the 11. Moving on to pictures taken with the main lens. So once again, I used the night mode for all the pictures that I took with the main lens. And here there isn't that big of a difference. However, if you do look close enough at some of those pictures, a lot of them do seem a bit sharper from the iPhone 12. Not a massive difference, but definitely there. And also some of those pictures seem to be a bit brighter. So overall an improvement for nighttime pictures from the iPhone 11 to the iPhone 12. So here I don't think there is any comparison. I'm pretty sure that everyone will agree that the iPhone 12 does better than the iPhone 11 when taking pictures in low light basically. Alright, and next we're gonna move on and check out some sample recordings. But for sample recordings, it's a bit more complex than just seeing the recordings. I mean, the recordings that you're gonna see mostly during the day do look somewhat similar, But there is actually a big difference. So the iPhone 12 can now record in what's called Dolby Vision HDR. Unfortunately, Final Cut Pro X cannot support this video format quite yet, so I can't exactly edit that. But technically, and even though the video files that you're about to see will look somewhat similar during the day, the iPhone 12 actually allows you to edit that footage much better. So if I would use other editing program, I could actually edit and make that footage look so much better. But what you're going to be seeing on the screen now, well, there isn't that big of a difference. You will see, however, a big difference for nighttime recordings. So the main lens has improved a lot compared to the iPhone 11. And with that being said, let's check out those sample recordings and I will be right back. Alright, this is a quick recording between the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 11. For this recording, I'm using the main lenses on the back of these two devices and recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. Of course, I could also do 4K at 60 frames per second. So we're gonna walk this way for a bit. We're actually gonna get close to this sign here. And then we'll walk this way for a bit. This way you can see how the image stabilization looks if you're walking and recording with the main lenses on the back of these two devices. So I'm guessing we're gonna stop here by these trees. We're gonna pan right slowly and back left, and we'll walk straight for a bit. So yeah, this is how a recording from the main lens on the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 11 would look like if you're recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. We are moving on to our next recording between the iPhone 12 and of course the iPhone 11. For this recording, I'm using the ultra-wide lenses on the back of these two devices, but still recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. As you can probably see for yourself, I am walking normally, so there is a bit of shakiness for both devices when I'm walking, obviously. And we're walking this way because it's a bit shadier, so you can see which device does better for dynamic range. So we're gonna stop somewhere around here. We're gonna pan right slowly and up and back left, and we'll walk this way. So yeah, this is how recording with the ultra-wide lenses on the back of the iPhone 11 and the back of the iPhone 12 would look like if you are recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. We are moving on to another quick recording between the iPhone 12 and of course the iPhone 11. For this recording, I'm doing 4K at 60 frames per second and using the main lenses on the back of these two devices. Now, this time around, it's not windy and there is almost no traffic around me, so a bit more quiet. So we're gonna pan left and up slowly, and then we'll go this way for a bit, and I'm actually gonna run for a bit so you can see how the image stabilization does while running. I'm gonna stop somewhere around here and we'll head back up that way. So yeah, this is how recording in 4K at 60 frames per second between the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 11 would look like if you are using the main lenses on the back of these two devices. Alright, this is a quick recording between the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 12. For this recording, I'm doing 4K at 30 frames per second and I'm using the main lens on the back of the two devices. So we're gonna walk this way a bit. We're heading towards that tree there. So from what I'm seeing on the screen here, I can definitely see way more on the screen of the iPhone 12. So here it gets pretty dark, and on the screen of the iPhone 11 I can barely see anything. So we'll pan left and back right. So definitely a massive improvement for the video quality in low light. So this is how recording in low light to the main lens in 4K at 30 frames per second between these two iPhones would look like. And I figured I'll show you another quick test in 4K at 30 frames per second with the main lens between the iPhone 11 and of course the iPhone 12. So we're gonna stop here, we'll pan left slowly. And we'll head this way for a bit. So yeah, this is how recording in low light between the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 12 would look like. And we're moving on to another quick recording, but for this recording I'm using the ultra-wide lenses on the back of the iPhone 11 and of course the iPhone 12. For this recording I'm doing 4K at 30 frames per second. So we're gonna stop here, we'll pan left slowly. So for the ultra wide lens, I don't really see that much of an improvement from the iPhone 11. The biggest change was for the video quality in low light with the main lens. So yeah, this is the ultra wide lens 4K at 30 frames per second. And next we are gonna check out some selfies. And once again for selfies, and I'm talking about daytime selfies, you aren't gonna notice that big of a difference. I mean, when you do like portrait mode selfies, both phones do pretty bad. I mean, the edge detection is pretty bad. So the biggest difference here you're gonna notice for nighttime selfies, because now with the iPhone 12 we actually get a night mode for selfies. So obviously all the selfies that you're gonna take in low light with the iPhone 12 will look better. I mean, much better in fact. So that is the main difference for selfies between the iPhone 11 and the 12, the nighttime selfies basically. So what do you guys think about the iPhone 12? Is it worth upgrading from the 11? For me personally, if you already have the 11, I don't think the 12 will make that big of a difference. But I mean, if you're recording at night, then you will actually notice a big difference. If you like taking pictures with the ultra wide lens on the back of the iPhone 12 at night, you're gonna see a big difference. But other than that, they are pretty similar. And again, the video format from the iPhone 12 allows you way more flexibility when editing it. But again, it's gonna be a while till a lot of editing programs actually start using that video format. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, don't forget to press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.